I'm making a TV show. Well, not quite yet, but one of the main things on my bucket list, I've discussed this ad nauseum on this channel, is to get back on set. I've never been happier than when I've been doing a production, creating something, filming something, editing something, releasing something that is close and personal to me. And I worked in the industry for 15 years in soap operas on One Life to Live, then I turned to broadcasting behind the scenes, and I've been out of the world for a while, but I'm itching to get back. And I've created numerous independent projects, some of which we're going to get into in this episode, that haven't really gone anywhere, but that's okay because you never know if the next one's going to be the big one. And this is the pilot script for the next one. I'm not going to tell you the name of it because I think it's clever and I don't want anyone stealing it if they happen to come across this. It's a rather familiar premise about a bunch of middle-aged guys just trying to get through life. And while, like I said, it's familiar, I think that this group of characters, all inspired by real-life people, has a unique, nuanced story to tell. Johnny, 45, Cherokee and Italian, silver hair and beard, average looks, dad bod. Wonder where I got that inspiration from. Terry, Italian, 44, short hair and height, dad bod, tired but keeping up with his duties as best as possible. LeVar, 42, African American, reserved, calm, dad bod. Walt, 45, white, large and imposing like Tony Soprano, hairy, once hot. And Avery, 39, mixed white and African American, semi-short king, vegan bod. I hate coming up with character names, so each one of those names is inspired by someone involved in Star Trek. Johnny, Jonathan Frakes, Terry Matalas, LeVar, need I say more, Walt, Walter Koenig, and Avery Brooks. And today, I'll be discussing the first major draft of the pilot script with 3 of the actors that I want involved. All of them have been friends of mine for at least over a decade, some multiple decades, and I will introduce you to them now.
My name is David Balsami, Call Me Balls.
My name is Darius Martin. What else do you want to know?
I'm Dan Brown, I'm entertainer and dead.
So how long have we known each other, / how long have we been working together?
Man, let's see. I think it goes back to the end of 2011.
At an audition for a web series by the name of Stills back in, 2014?
Get a random message from some random guys like, hey, I see you're an actor. Let's go work on something. And I'm like, sure.
This August will be 40 years we've known each other. We worked on Stills. We did Wake. Huh? You thought I forgot that one?
No, I knew you'd remember. I thought you were going to say it in chronological order.
It was always a fun time. Super talented you are. So I just wanted to, I think we always synergized and had a good feng shui.
I love working with you. So, we did Maybe Next Week podcast.
Yeah. Oh man, I miss that.
Those are fun. Those are fun times. So what's been your favorite project that we worked on together to date?
Probably say the podcast, only because it allowed us to have more regular communication. As ourselves, I got to know you guys as quiet as I was. I got to know you guys at a time where we weren't really going outside.
I loved Wake. It was the first one. Our cast was the majority of our good friends. And I think that really helped. You don't have these strangers coming together to pretend to be lifelong friends. We were already lifelong friends, and playing that role was simple,
And you were really on screen for that one.
Unfortunately.
You couldn't memorize your lines.
Yeah.
Your girlfriend at the time, now wife, she memorized all your lines.
She knew my lines better than I did.
Still, it was really, really cool. I think what we were doing at that time was telling a really great story with so many different stories and how they intertwined and how it wrapped into the New York state of mind and all of that. I think it was just a really dope story and we got to tell a lot of layers of it. I love that project. Stills was Stills. Stills was Stills. So.
Still the best time of my life.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like we were young. We're like, all right, we got to hop on this train. We're gonna go a stop, and we're gonna go back to the same stop. We're gonna go and do it again. And it was
we had a lot of energy back then, didn't we? What was your initial reaction to the pilot script?
It was a fairly easy read, and it flowed kind of well.
Very familiar.
I enjoyed it. Overall.
Just to see, all right, this is the time, this is where we're at in the time of our lives.
There were a couple of characters that I connected with probably more so than others.
it's really cool to see how we can bring tidbits of what our life looks like and then just bring it into this story. It's the beginning of this, like it's the beginning. So I like hearing like, oh, okay. Oh, that's their relationship. Oh, okay. That's their relationship. Oh, they don't mess with that.
I was a little like, oh, where's the rest? I didn't realize this was kind of just like a pilot episode almost.
You were looking for the resolution to the character.
Yeah. I was like, what happened? Where's the end?
I was waiting for something to happen. And so when it did, I was like, oh, all right. I was like, good. I was like, oh, but I was like, it's just something. I was like, oh, if something happened here, it'd be great. And then I finished it and I was like, yes, that's what I needed.
Was it predictable that what would happen to the person it happened to, or no?
No. Okay. I guess looking back on it, while I was in it, no.
It can't end like this.
And it's your writing. So I really enjoy that it really focuses on all the people's, it's not just the superficial stuff. It's the deeper stuff.
So what are your thoughts on your character?
It's a lot like me. You know, the guy has, 2 kids. His kid in school is, maybe saying some things that, you and I might have said in school and not get in trouble for. And now all of a sudden, this day and age, they're going to, kick you out or even worse. I would be that exact person where I would just be like, so what? She said that, like whatever. Like that's how I personally would do it. And then my wife, on the other hand, would be just as this character was like, oh no, sorry to the principal, and we gotta, we'll make things better and blah 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 blah, and kiss ass and all that.
Because I'm not a father, so I don't truly know. Most of my knowledge of the trials and tribulations of generational differences and how things are handled now as opposed to when we were kids is through you. Do you feel like that was fairly accurate, or did it miss the nuance of that? No,
I definitely felt my character's frustration in the fact that he couldn't, tell the principal to go screw himself and, just, worry about teaching my kid and not, what dumb things she said, or did. I definitely felt that it hit the mark, and there will be people out there that feel the same way, and I know it.
And I see it even here, because I'm around youth sports a lot, how the parents and the kids deal with things now and how much softer kids are now, and how they're treated with these delicate gloves that we were not. So I'm glad that for you, who has a very personal stake in that came across. So what are your thoughts on your character, Avery?
I think it sounds good, and it sounded sweet, almost too sweet, until I was like, oh, okay, there we go. There's something that is always underlying. Because most of the time we only see the good stuff, or especially from social media standpoint. Some people, it always seems like maybe they don't need anything, but then bam, there's something. It's just when that information comes out. For my character, it's familiar, like I said, where all right, it's all good. It seems all good, but is it really? Oh, got it.
I felt like it was easy for me to relate to his situation immediately. I didn't feel like this about every character, but I felt like immediately he was a real person, whereas other characters, I needed time with them. Him, immediately, I was like, I know this guy. I know who he is. I can see the way his mind works. What I love about it is that it's not told to us. It's just shown to us. That opening scene with him.
With the kids.
Yeah. Right. No words need to be expressed. You can tell when the mom comes to pick them up. Like it's just shown, and I liked that I liked a lot.
But LeVar and Darius exist currently in 2025 in very different worlds. You have an absolutely incredible wife, a supportive wife. The struggles of what LeVar is going through. How did that speak to you, being someone who thankfully doesn't have to deal with a lot of the shared parenting troubles that LeVar has to deal with?
But I think we've all been in a position that LeVar finds himself in, where we feel like we just can't catch a break. I'll put it like this: we're like stuck in a room. There are so many exit points, but they're all closed. Mm-hmm. Right. So that's where I see LeVar, and I feel like we all can relate to a point like that in our lives, where no matter what we're doing, it's not working.
I'm rooting for LeVar. In my real life, I've had friends that have gone through that type of relationship with baby moms, and it's so unfortunate where, I get it from both sides, where the way one reacts is because of all the stuff, and the one that wants to do better can't because of all the stuff. And it's so unfortunate, and it happens every day.
So of all the characters in this pilot episode, which one was your favorite?
I like Johnny. I like his story. I think, it's life be lifing. I'm rooting for him. I want him to get all that he wants.
So I really did like LeVar. And that's, you know, I had no idea until you were saying that's me, but that's.
Who did you guess that I wanted you to play?
I didn't know that you wanted me to play anybody.
Obviously.
I really liked Terry.
That's you and Balls and your love affair.
Yes. Maybe it's the dad in me. I love the way that he related to his daughter. I love the way that they communicated with her.
I like how Walt...
I knew it! It's always the Greg character.
Tell how it was mixed between our two friends. You know, when I first read the description of him, 45, white, large, imposing, like Tony Soprano, hairy, once hot, I clearly pictured Greg. I clearly did. And I pictured him in Wake. That's exactly who I pictured, the Greg of Wake. I did like how it wasn't a carbon copy of Greg, right?
It was actually hard. I had to rewrite a few scenes because it veered too much into Wake territory with Brad.
Oh, yeah?
That Greg played. So I had to check myself, because for me, the moral focus of it is that Jekyll and Hyde that he's going through because of all the medication he's on, and that's not a Greg thing. That's a other friend thing. So I need to always what's the center of this character? So I'm glad that was seen by you and read by you.
Yeah.
Which character, if any of them, didn't really work for you?
Characters that didn't work?
It's perfectly okay to fuel my ego and say that they all work for you.
But that's what I'm saying. I think they all work in how friend groups are. I like Gia, but I don't know how long I guess Gia could be wrapped up unless there's a way to bring her back later, but
I'm not too sure. I don't really think there was one that specifically didn't work as one of the main characters. The girl that you were involved with near the end of it, I was kind of just ooh, really? Not to sound naive, but does that happen? You know what I mean?
It happens. It happens.
No, I don't mean what happened to you, but her reaction to it.
Oh shit! Okay, shit! Okay, here we go. Let's go.
It's funny how some of the guys who have read this who don't have as much experience as some of us do are would that ever really happen? I'm yes.
In a world, that would exactly happen. Where it's cool, thanks, and get you later.
I don't know if there's any that didn't work. There might have been some moments I was let's see if we could do more show than tell. So it's not that it didn't work for me. The moment that I'm about to describe, but so go with Terry and Johnny. There was a button that I really liked. It was right before he mentions Gia, thank you. Right before Johnny mentions her to Terry. I felt like the scene could have ended without him talking about.
It could end with I do love a good circle jerk.
Yeah, I would.
I knew that's what you were gonna say.
Yes, I was this is great. And I think I felt that way because Johnny had just mentioned Gia to Hannah.
That's a good point.
Because I like the relationship between Hannah and Johnny. I liked it kind of ending there. I don't have to see you talk about her with Terry.
That is repetitive. You're absolutely right about that. Yes. Are there other moments that stand out for you like that?
So I like Johnny and Gia at the end, but I don't feel like Gia has earned everything that you say to her.
But is it more that she didn't earn it? He's just unloading unnecessarily?
But then I guess I'll put it I just don't see then the buildup for Johnny to unload. At that point, had he had more of a conversation with LeVar maybe about what he's going through, and then like we see the build, like we can see it kind of weighing on Johnny. I understand with everything that Johnny is saying, and it is coming in frustration, but I don't see those rattling moments. So when he does unload to Gia, either she doesn't earn it, or we as the audience don't get to see what pushes him to this point. She would have to show me something if I'm on a date with her to where I feel like I can release all of this, even if it's frustration. And it might just be because I'm so introspective. Some of that might come out, but you wouldn't get everything.
Do you think it would have worked better post how their night actually ends?
Maybe.
Not to be cliche-ish, but like the culmination of his frustration and, not with just this specific girl, but with, in life and in everything. And it's getting dumped on her. Part of me did feel bad, but the other part of me was like, nah, because, she didn't give it time. And if maybe she gave it some time, you might not have flipped that switch and just unloaded. You know what I mean? No,
that's good notes. Because it needs to be earned. It has to be earned, especially because, if this ever got made, there'd be people who just think it's an attack. And it's like, it's not meant to be an attack. Yes, the overall narrative is that we suck.
Showing that you're vulnerable, like stuff happens to you.
There's a lot of really good fathers and single guys and uncles and unofficial uncles and whatnot out there that are just doing their best.
Like sometimes people in general expect, men or certain figures to just be this specific way. And you can't do that all the time. And, we're just like, everyone else,
For me, it's not to cut anybody else down. It's just to have a realistic back and forth.
The long ass monologue had me worried, but I get it how it will be shot. I was like, oh, okay. But it was long. I was like, dang, that's a lot. For me as an actor, I'm like, damn, that's a lot of lines to memorize. Shit.
Johnny takes a beat and then he keeps going. I'm like, no, Johnny.
Was it more about like when he makes too much of an effort to show his balanced views instead of it just being a raw emotional reaction? So maybe it's not so much that he needs to cut it off at some point, but it's a matter of not having to be PC about it.
Yes.
Apologetic or yeah. Okay. I worried about that, and then I think my own ego got into it where it's like I always try to show that I'm balanced with people. Then it's like, well, that doesn't necessarily make for good drama.
Right.
It's Johnny, it's not you. So I'm going to do some reworking in Django with it. So does the world need this project?
I would say so.
All projects are needed because the person that creates it says so.
Gosh, yeah.
As you get older, you relate in different ways to different things. You still don't see too many projects that deal with people in that late 30s to mid 40s, journey in their lives, because that's not necessarily an exciting time anymore, right?
And when it has, it comes off as just a goofy guys hanging out for the weekend movie. You know what I mean? And of course, there's always like the moral, the moral of the story and how, things need to, the main character, does the right thing and this and that, and everyone lives happily ever after.
I think we're in the right time for it. I think we're in the right era of the world where you can be a little more outspoken about relationships, like dive deeper.
By that time, you're expected to have settled down or just, settling down. You're dealing with middle-aged stuff, but there's still stories to be told there. There's still a lot of moments to be shared there. And I think that it would be beneficial to have a project like this out there, so that can be represented.
I think it's definitely needed. And I think it's definitely beneficial, for sure.
And people like us can look and say, yeah, I get that. Oh, man. Yeah, when I get up, my back pops too,
It's not cracker pop. And last question, any ideas on what to do next to try to get something, a proof of concept or something done?
This, I don't know if I got an answer for you, brother.
We got to get some talks. We got to get some people. We got to, you got to have more eyes on it. More people talking about it.
I would assume that it's really, shooting it how you want it to be shot, and then getting it into the festivals.
Easier said than done, but try shooting a little preview. Obviously, that involves the actors and, you know, a whole ton of money that we just don't have.
Darius's idea was doing maybe shoot 3 scenes of it.
Trying to bring one of these moments to life, maybe that party scene. I would want to showcase everybody together because all the other scenes are like cut scenes or they only involve one. Terry and Johnny, yes. I like that. Terry and Johnny in the basement. The Louis, well,
yeah, I just remember that myself when he's doing the homework.
yes, that's the one I would think.
You're right. You're 100% right about that because as you're saying it, it's hitting me too. Yeah.
Whatever happens, somebody's going to be like, wow, that is dope. And they'll appreciate the art of it because nowadays, yeah, anybody can spit out content. But if you keep that art of it, then I think that will draw in more people that are invested to invest in it.
That's the tough part, right? Trying to sell it.
I got some rewrites to do. I'm going to make this a lot better thanks to the feedback that I've received from Balls and Darius and Dan. And I thank my brothers for being a part of this episode, for reading the script, for giving me their honest thoughts. There's so much more that they said that I couldn't include in this episode, but maybe in resulting ones, and definitely we'll be getting other perspectives on the next draft of this pilot, namely from women, because I don't want to just attract one audience. I want it to be for everyone. So I'm going to get to work on that. And I'm going to say that I'm making a TV show. Check. Or at least the first step of check. So I got to get to work. Like, share, subscribe, and tell me, do you want to read the script? Do you want to be involved? Because it takes a village. And if you have any funding, please send them my way. I got to get to work. Bye-bye. Interior, the bathroom. Johnny, my character, turns on his bidet, gifted to him by Terry. He whispers aloud, "Thank you, Terry. Thank you." The end. Gold. Gold! I'm like Aaron Sorkin up in this bitch.